All right, I am super fired up today for yet another Impact episode, and I have my man Chase Daniel. Chase, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on, man. Appreciate it.
We just got done with another grueling session here in the offseason, getting ready for training camp, and great one today, brother.
It was. We got after it 5 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, weight room, Tuesday, Thursday on the field, just like we've been doing for 10 years now.
Hey guys, today's episode is sponsored by my friends over at Carnosine beta-alanine. Let me ask you a question. Who's looking to amp up your workout routine, your training routine? You want to get stronger, faster, more explosive? You want to improve your endurance? Well, my friends, Carnosine beta-alanine is an ingredient found with many of the top pre- and post-workout supplements. Along with the right training program and the proper nutrition, you got to eat right. Carnosine beta-alanine is going to help build your strength, endurance, and your power. How do you do it? Well, essentially 3.2 grams a day. You want to essentially get 90 grams over a 28-day period, about 3.2 grams per day, and you're going to love the way you feel on it. I've been using it for over 20 years, literally on my workout days, on my non-workout days, and I endorse it heavily with my athletes. Why? Because when you're looking for the edge and when you expect the best out of your body, you got to make sure you eat right, you train hard, you're constantly living inspired. And my friends over at Carnosine beta-alanine have the best product on the planet. Over 55 independent studies show that it has zero banned substances. That's an important thing. You always want to put the right stuff in your bodies. Go to team.carnosine.com. Check it out in the Find It section. You go to your local health food store or just go to team.carnosine.com and pick some up today. Going into your 11th NFL season. What is that like?
That's a blessing. It is.
No doubt.
It's cool. It's cool. You know, the average NFL career is 3.5 years. So to almost really triple that is special. You know, I don't take any moment for granted, but I feel the best I've ever felt. Body feels really good. Mentally, I'm in a really good spot.
Yep.
So it's fun, man. I'm trying to play 20 years, so just 1 year at a time, and we'll see what happens.
Well, we've been working hard together for 10 years now, and this is going into your 11th year. And one thing I want to talk about on today's episode is, so many people think, well, okay, Chase, he had an illustrious college career, got into the NFL, and, he's you spent your career as a backup. What's it? 4 starts in 10 years.
4, yeah.
Right. So I want to pick your brain today about the mindset of what it takes to continually, year after year, compete at the highest level to, number one, make a roster, 2, to be that backup so that, sometimes they say that the backup is the hardest job on the field because you have to prepare as if it's going to be, your job that week. And to me, that's just it's an extraordinary feat and mindset that you have as a backup.
Yeah, it's not easy. That's for sure. You go 4 years of high school playing at the highest really high school level there is in Texas in 5A. Now it's 6A. And then 4 years in college, right, at University of Missouri, up for the Heisman twice. We're in the national championship talk both years, my junior and senior year. And I'm sort of the guy, right, like that made it go, obviously with a lot of help with teammates. But, you get to the NFL, go undrafted, mind you. Now fighting tooth and nail to make a team with the Saints, made the team in 2009, won a Super Bowl there, which is pretty crazy, my first year, and then fought the next year to be a backup. And it's just like every single year you sort of have to prove yourself. It's not like where you're a starter, you're one of 32 people in the world that just has a job.
Right.
It's you got to realize, like what I've realized over these 10 years is like nothing's given. Mm-hmm. You have to go take it, and you have to prove yourself every single day. And I think, honestly, like coming out of NFL, I thought I should be drafted. And I think when I wasn't drafted, it hurt. It hurt a little bit. And really, I turned that hurt into a fire deep down inside me saying, hey, every single day, whether it's a workout today, whether it's a preseason game, whether it's a playoff game, whether it's regular season, whether it's off-season practice, like you got to show out. You got to do your best every single day.
So how is it? How do you throw for 12,000 plus yards in your college career, you're 4th in the Heisman Trophy, and you go undrafted? How does that happen?
My height. Back then, it was such a big deal. Now you see Kyler Murray, he's barely 5'10", maybe 5'9.5". Russell Wilson, 5'10", 5'10.5", 5'11". Really the only guys back then, like, I mean, that was 11 years. It was a long time ago. Back then were Mike Vick, and, well, he could, I mean, he was unbelievable. He could run so fast. And then Drew Brees, which Drew, obviously, you know what Drew's done in his NFL career. But I think if I would have been playing now, it would have been a little different story. But I honestly wouldn't go back and write my NFL career any differently.
Yep.
Based purely on the fact that it really burns that fire deep inside me. I have a chip on my shoulder every single day, even now in practice. Like, I'm trying to prove myself every single day. And I think that's what helps me in the long run get better.
So you go undrafted to the Redskins and then get released, right?
Yeah. It's actually a pretty funny story. I'm glad you brought that up. I played pretty well in the 2009 preseason with the Redskins. I only got to play about 3/4 worth of a game in four preseason games. So I didn't get to play very much. I was the fourth guy, but I threw 4 touchdowns. And I felt like I had a really good shot at winning the number 3 job behind Jason Campbell and Todd Collins. For all you NFL people out there, those guys
I remember.
back there. That's showing my age a little bit. But I ended up getting cut. And I was a little upset, like, what am I going to do? But they called me in right away. Hey, we want to sign your practice squad. I'm like, oh, perfect. Like, just get a chance. Just show what I got, show what I do. So at the time, Jim Zorn was the head coach. I remember this, I mean, like it was yesterday. I go into the building. My agent, Jeff Nally, as I'm walking into the building, my phone rings, and I miss a call from my agent. I have it on me. I'm literally sitting outside Jim Zorn's office. And I'm like 3rd or 4th in line because they're wanting to sign all these guys to practice squad. And my phone it just keeps ringing. I'm like, oh, who is this? So it's Jeff. And I literally take the phone and I answer it. And sure enough, it's Jeff. And he's saying, hey, walk out right now. Don't go in there. Don't go in there. Don't go in there. I'm like, no, what are you doing? I'm like 2nd in line. Like, no, don't do it. True story. So I'm like, I got to go to the restroom. Like, I made up some elaborate excuse, like, hey, I got to go. So I'm like, dude, why are you blowing? What? Like, I probably should have answered the first time, so I wouldn't have put myself in that position. But I go in and I literally am in the bathroom at the Washington Redskins facility. He's telling me, hey, listen, like, don't sign. Just trust me right now. You're going to have to wait a little bit, but I'm pretty sure, like, we got a really good situation, a much better situation than you're going to be in Washington. And I'm like, all right, perfect. Like, I trust him. Like, he still is my agent to this day.
Yeah.
He's done a great job for me. So I'm like, it felt like the longest 5 minutes. I get a call from a 504 number. And for those of you who know, it's New Orleans, Louisiana. And I'm like, I should probably pick this up. Like, I figured my agent would call me back and then say, hey, expect a phone call. I pick it up. It's Sean Payton on the other line. And I don't realize it. He goes, Chase, Sean Payton. I go, hey, coach, how you doing? New Orleans Saints. I know who you are. Like, you don't have to tell me. He's like, hey, listen, we really would love for you to come down here, learn from Drew and Mark Brunell, who is the number 2 there. We cannot get you on active roster for a couple weeks, but we feel like you really fit this offense very well. We feel like Drew can help you. We really want to sign you. So we're going to fly you in today. You need to leave the facility right now. We're going to get you on a plane. We're going to fly you down here, and you're going to sign, and you're going to learn. And I was like, okay. So literally, I call my agent. I'm like, this is it. He's like, yeah, this is the better situation. So literally, to his word, I fly down there. I signed a practice with him. 2 weeks later, active roster as a third quarterback. Back then, when third quarterbacks had like a roster exemption, rules have changed. And that was 2009, and that was the year we won a Super Bowl.
Wow.
And then 2010, got to compete for a backup job, won the job, and was there for 10, 11, and 12, and then went on to the Chiefs. But I just remember that, like, it's showing a little bit of faith, but, like, I thought I was practice squad, I thought I was here, but then you really get moved around, and then you won a Super Bowl in 2009, which is
so insane. What was it? Was there someone in the Saints organization that opened that door for you? Because there's always something like, why did Sean Payton call you?
Yeah. So this story gets actually a lot better. So it's sort of full circle now. The guy at the time in New Orleans by the name of Ryan Pace. He is now currently the GM for the Chicago Bears. At the time, he was director of player personnel, and it's his job, NFL player personnel, to go through and to look at film. And come to find, I didn't know this for a few years, but come to find out, he was the guy that was standing on a table for me saying, "Hey, we need this guy in here. He can do all like anything Drew can do. We feel like he's a great number 2 with a chance to be a starter down the road." And I guess stood on the table for me, and Sean agreed. And I mean, I spent my first 4 years there, and then now he gets the GM job like 3 or 4 years ago in Chicago, and now that's currently where I am. So he brought me in to help Mitch and to play. I got 2 starts last year, but this is going on my second year in Chicago, so it's sort of full circle, right? He was the one who first found me. Now, 11 years later, I'm playing for his team.
What a great story. Yeah. Talk about full circle. That is awesome. And since then, 10 years, Saints, Chiefs, Eagles, and Bears, lots of different experiences. Obviously working with Drew, then Alex Smith, and then Carson Wentz in Philly, and now a young guy in Mitch Trubisky. There's obviously with each of those guys different traits, some common traits. I love studying high performance and looking at high performance, whether it be athletes, actors, entrepreneurs. Are there any commonalities between those guys that you've worked with and been a part of their life and career that you could share with us today?
Yeah, I think the easy answer would be the physical traits, right? Like all 4 of those guys have the arm, they have the speed, they have the arm talent, everything like that, right? They're one of 32 people in the world. But what really I look at is sort of the it factor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like not your physical traits, but what can you do mentally and emotionally? And for me, it's drawing your teammates together, playing for the greater good, not playing for yourself. And all 4 of those guys really have that trait. They know how to pull a team together. They know how to talk to their teammates. They know how to lead on and off the field. And that's hard to do. Not all quarterbacks, especially starters, can do that. A lot of these guys worry about the number 1 receiver, maybe their tight end, and that's it. They don't get along with maybe their offensive linemen that don't really get any respect, and they're in the trenches fighting. But what I really drew from them was the fact that they can unite a team together for the greater good, and that greater good is trying to win a Super Bowl trophy.
Absolutely. Amen to that. So one sentence or word on each of those guys. Drew Brees, what would you say?
Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer. Alex Smith.
One of the greatest teammates I've had of all time.
Carson Wentz.
Cerebral.
Mitch Trubisky.
Good old boy. Good old boy. Young. Him and Carson, young, very young.
And as a guy who spent now 10 years with many of the greats, I mean, Drew, Alex, Carson's on his way, and Mitch is an upstart guy. They've obviously leaned on you a lot. I know Drew has, and working with both you guys now for a long time. How have you best helped them, do you think?
Well, listen, I say this all the time, and I truly believe it. Right, like my job in the NFL, and it's a job. Don't get me wrong. It is a backup quarterback. So to me, a backup quarterback has to have 2 qualities. One, do anything in their power to get the starter ready. Whatever it is, whatever routine they have, no matter what they want to do, it's to get them ready each and every week to play a game. Drew was different from Alex. Alex is different from Carson. Carson's different from Mitch. Mitch is different from Drew. They're all, you sort of have to dig deep and find out what makes them tick. And I learned a lot about really playing the position of quarterback in the NFL from Drew. So I've taken a lot of that, like the preparation stuff, with me everywhere I've sort of gone. And for me, preparation's like everything. I feel like as a backup quarterback, you're not going to get the physical reps. You have to be mentally prepared. So that's something we can talk a little bit later. But it's something that, Mitch likes to grind. Drew likes to grind. Alex is more laid back. Carson likes to grind. So whether it's in the classroom or on the field, you have to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And the second trait for me is be ready to play at any given notice. Like I remember I thought I was going to have to go to the Philadelphia game, the playoff game this year, and it was freezing cold. It was the third quarter. I had been sitting on a bench trying to warm up my feet and toes, and I go in, or I don't go in, but I'm throwing on the sideline. I'm like, there's no way I can do this. Like, it's just so cold.
Right.
But I didn't have to play, but like mentally I'm like, oh, fighting. I'm like, man, it is so cold. I can barely feel my hands. And it's different when you're playing. Like the 2 games I'm playing, like I'm warm, I'm rolling. Like it was raining in New York. It didn't matter. But you just have to be ready to play. Like you're not going to get any of the reps in the week ever unless you're the starter. So like I don't get to rep any of our plays with the starters on that week. The perfect example is the Detroit Lions Thanksgiving game. Mm-hmm. We play Sunday night football at home. It's the shortest turnaround, by the way, in NFL history. We play 86 hours later, Thursday morning, Thanksgiving morning, 11:30 a.m. at Detroit. So you build in the travel day. We finish Sunday. Monday's like almost off. We're in game planning. I learned Monday night that Mitch is not going to play on Thursday. So we have a walkthrough. We don't do anything Monday, just mental. Walkthrough on Tuesday. Walkthrough mean you like literally hats in the indoor walking through. Travel Wednesday, play Thursday morning. I got 0 live reps and ended up, we were able to win and to win on Thanksgiving, which was great. But like that's just one of those times that I've gotten 0 reps with the starters.
Right.
And a backup quarterback just has to play. It just gets thrown in there and expects.
So what's that mentality? What allows you to do that?
I think for me it's the film work, and I try to even during practice maybe get some throws with some of the starters, even if it's not full like go.
Right. Yep.
Just have them spot up, see where they like to catch the ball. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it, but I think you just got to go out there and
how important would you say like visualization is that week? You have a short week or a long week, whatever it is, of you as the backup getting mental reps, getting through each play, knowing the game plan, going in and literally going through your drops, going through your reads, and taking those perfect mental reps.
Yeah, I mean, as a backup quarterback, you live off the mental reps. Yep. You live off visualization, whether it's when you're on practice or if it's at night before the game, you're going through your game plan, you're visualizing, hey, cover 2, I'm going here, cover 3 here, man-to-man. Okay, if they blitz me, where's my hot? There's a lot of stuff that goes into it, but what I like to do is every single rep, whether it's walkthrough rep or an actual practice rep that the starter is taking, that Mitch is taking, I'm right behind him doing the drop. Not necessarily getting the physical throw, and I'm going a little bit, but I'm just like matching my footwork with the concept. Mm-hmm. I'm seeing where my eyes are at. I'm seeing if his eyes are in the right spot. So there's a lot of stuff because you want to be able to help the starter during practice, but you also want to be able to get the mental reps as well in a walkthrough. Hey, I'm going here versus this coverage, and it makes it a little bit easier. You're not getting the physical reps. You're getting the mental reps, and you're imagining yourself throwing a perfect ball every single time.
Yep. Chase, the other day, I had the defensive coordinator of the Houston Texans walk in the gym, John Pagano. Coach Pagano said, who's training? I said, Chase Daniel's one of the guys who was training. He goes, Chase freaking Daniel. I'm like, why? I started laughing. I said, why you say that? He said, because every time I play against that guy, he kills me. What? And I hear this all the time. Whenever you've had your opportunity, whether it be preseason, during game, or when the playoffs are on the line, which you killed Coach Pagano a while back, what's allowed you to do that?
Man, that's a great question. I think a little bit of just like the forget it mentality, like forget what anyone else says, forget about the crowd, forget about anyone else, focus in on one play at a time. Don't worry about the outcome, just go and let it rip. And I think that mentality has allowed me on some of these, 2 of my 4 starts have been on really short notice. Mm-hmm. And I think it's almost a better thing where you're not overthinking scenarios. Mm-hmm. You're just going out there and letting it rip. Listen, it's the game of football. It's the same game I've been playing since I was in 3rd grade. Just a little bit faster, a little bit better people, a little tighter windows throwing. But at the end of the day, like it is still a game.
That's
and I
right.
think people sometimes try to overthink that. Yeah, there's a lot of scenarios that play out. I try to simplify. Mm-hmm. Early in my career, I tried to really overthink things and think too much. Well, what if this and what if that? Just react. It's a reaction business. You prepare mentally throughout the week. Then when you go out there, you can't worry about that. You got to let your body take over. You got to let your mind take over. It's second nature where to go with the ball. And I think just really with experience doing that, I'm sort of comfortable with that type of thing.
Mm-hmm. How would you say, as you reflect upon 10 years thus far in your career, how have you changed the most? Whether it be as a player, as a person, you look back on 10 years, how have you changed the most?
Perspective. I think when I first started playing, I really wasn't dating my wife at the time. So it was just like all about football all the time, nothing else, right? My faith in my football. And really you transition to when I was in Kansas City, when we were engaged and then married, it was like, oh man, this is my wife. Like this is my end all here on this world. Like it's more than just football. And then when our son was born in New Orleans in 2017, that it just completely like I have a bigger purpose here than football. And I think that's honestly helped. I think I've grown with my perspective. Like, hey, like, listen, football is what I do. It's not who I am. And I struggle with that because I'm a perfectionist. I still struggle with that today because I'm like, hey, my wife has to pull me back sometimes. And when I see my kid, he sort of does it in his own little like fun way. But like I have a hard time in season turning off football chase and going home to be dad and husband chase. But I think I've really learned how to do that over time, and I think it's helped me with my game. I think it's made me realize like, hey, like listen, I've played 11 wonderful years. Even if I'm not a full-time starter one day, which I want to become because that's a goal. You set goals, you try to attain them, then it's all right. It's great.
So
like
how do you do it?
A beautiful son, a beautiful wife.
So how do you do it? Because if you're listening in today and you're not an NFL quarterback or athlete, you might be a mom or dad who has a tough time turning off work when you get home and you have to be present with the kids. So is there a trick or something that you do now so that you can dissociate your career with, Chase as the dad?
I have about a 25-minute drive home each day, and I really try to just turn off. I don't really listen to music on that ride home. Sometimes if it's not freezing cold in Chicago, I'll roll down the windows. Usually
doesn't happen too often.
Yeah, usually pretty cold. I'll try to roll down the windows and just breathe. And even if I'm not in the state, if I get home in my driveway and if I'm not in the right state of mind, I'll just sit in my car for 5 extra minutes because you got to sort of have that cool down mode. And during season with the schedule that we keep as quarterbacks, it's hard pressed to find time during the week. I think a schedule really helps, but I get home at 6:45, 7 p.m. on half the nights during the week, and my son's bedtime's 8. So I really just. We have dinner as a family together, and I'll go in and I'll just play. I'll play with him down in his playroom, and I'll just spend quality time with him and just forget anything else. Sometimes it's hard to do. I'm not going to lie. I'm not perfect. You don't do it every single time, and but I try to be present because I know he'll never be that age again. Even if he's in the terrible twos right now, even if it's really difficult to try and do that, it's totally worth it in the end.
You guys, you gotta follow Chase's Instagram. You see his son pressing all over it. It's awesome on that. Now you say you get home at 7 p.m., so I'm assuming you start. Quarterbacks will start at 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. What time do you roll into the office? What time? I mean, what time do you get in there?
So we normally get quarterbacks are there probably like 5:30, 5:45. So you're looking at 14-hour days, three days of the week. So we put in a lot of work, and a lot of that work is mental. Way more mental work than physical. Practice 2 hours a day, and then you get some walkthrough. You got to lift and stuff, but it's a lot of meetings. The game plan is a lot sometimes. It's a lot to ingest, and it can be overwhelming at times. But I think, for me, when the season's over, right, when there's 24 weeks of football and actual like football work that have gone into it, the biggest thing for me physically, like I feel really good. I do a decent job with diet. I do a good job staying in shape, but the mental aspect, I'm literally worn out mentally, and I got to get away after the season. And I do that because I internalize everything, right? I bring everything in, but I don't actually get to go out and use it.
That's right.
So it doesn't get out of me. I have 16, 17 game plans in my head, whereas if the weeks you're starting, you get to go and freaking do it. And then you know the weeks you don't, it's just there, and you're like, all right, well that's last week, and then go on. And it's good, and the bye week's good. Yeah. You get to get away, but for me, I'm the most mentally worn out at the end of the season.
I think no one understands that the mindset of a backup is really tough because you have to prepare as if you are the starter. And when you're not the starter, you don't have that physical outlet. So if someone was listening today, and let's say they're even a young high school athlete, and they're competing to make the JV or the varsity, or they want to, step it up, or they're in college and they have the opportunity to play even in college, what advice would you give that person who is a backup now and striving to become the starter?
I think for me, I think we could talk about what you just asked me on an entire podcast, but I want to keep it simple. And for me, honestly, it is showing up early and staying late. And that can mean a lot of things. That can mean showing up to work out. That could mean showing up to get an extra film work. That could mean showing up early. Like, for me, like in my mind, like if I am not, and this is just the competitor, if I'm not the first person in the parking lot in the mornings during game week, something's wrong. Like it just, if I see someone else's car there before me, I don't know what it is, but it just is like, it burns in me like I'm the first one there. And it's not just showing up to show up, it's showing up with a purpose and showing up to work and showing up to get a head start and staying late, man. Like I just think if you're showing these coaches in high school, in college, junior high, that you truly want to be the best, it's not only the work you do during practice, it's all the outside stuff that you do.
Right.
Whether it's hanging out with your teammates, going to get pizza with them, being there early, bringing a group of guys in, like your receivers, if you're a quarterback, throwing extra, just 10, 12 extra throws. All that stuff adds up through a season. And when it's playoff time, or when you got to make a play, you're gonna understand that these guys were with me early and late throughout the year. It makes all the difference in the world.
Well, I think that's the mindset of a champion right there. Even if you're not an athlete and you're in the work world, if you're just punching the hours and you're 9 to 5, that's not going to get you ahead. Right. And Chase, one of the reasons why you've been in the NFL for so long is because of that mindset of first in, last to leave. You're going to grind, and you've done that. And I think if you're listening today about, hey, I want to get ahead, I want a great career, I want to keep moving up the corporate ladder or the chain, whatever it's going to take. You just heard Chase, who's been around some of the other great quarterbacks in the league, and he's learned that from them, and now he's instilling it in some of the young ones. It's going to take a maniacal focus on preparation and showing up early, being the last to leave, and doing everything it takes to be your absolute best. So if you're a young athlete out there, or you're in the workforce and you want to get ahead, take it from Chase Daniel, who is sharing some of his tips on what it takes to continually, year after year, not week after week for one season, but year after year, continually move up in career. So Chase, hats off to you on that.
Thank you. And I think actually what you said was awesome. It's consistency. We haven't talked a lot about that, but it's be consistent. Be the same person every single day. Do whatever you need to do when you get out of that bed to get you in that mindset. And you talk a lot up to your athletes still today and to me about getting your mind right, getting that mindset in a right place to where you can go into the workplace, or you can go into a high school or a college or an NFL huddle. Like, it is such a big trait of mine that I really view as just be the same guy every single day.
I like that. So when you get your mind right videos of me going all crazy in the gym.
Snap that band, baby. Snap it.
Get your mind right. Get it right and get it tight and get your mind right. So talk about preparation. It's obviously been a huge thing. We touched upon it. But how have you each and every year prepared both in season and out of the season to make sure that you are buttoned up physically?
Yeah, I think, I'm going to be honest, like training out here with you is a big deal for me. me. And I think not only physically, but it gets me right mentally. And I think, we've been doing this for 10 years, just moved out here full time, and we actually got to do a whole off season, January to April, which was great. But what I like is like the 5 weeks that we have, middle of June to like end of July, is really like my get right season. So making sure my diet's right, making sure that we're getting 5 days a week, 3 in the weight room, 2 on the field. Making sure you're getting your body work, the recovery. I'm getting a little bit older, not too old yet, but the recovery situation for me is huge. That's when I feel the best. And then when that 5 weeks really gets me in a mindset, like physically it's there, but gets me in a mindset that when we go on to camp, I think it's July 22nd, that we're hitting the ground running. It's not like a build-up time. I'm already built up so I can help my players and my teammates get to a higher level.
I want to touch upon something that's important that all of us face. It's adversity, it's challenge, it's setback. Talk to me about failure. Has there ever been a time in your life where you had a setback and it was later on nothing more than a setup for success?
Yeah, I mean, I think the business of the NFL, and let me get this straight, it is an absolute business, can sometimes be difficult. I've been cut numerous times. I've been in situations where I'm like, I don't really like this situation, but I'm not going to complain. I'm a big team player. I'm going to gut it out, and then we'll see what happens next year, type things. And I think that, for me, is considered a little bit of failure. Like when I'm getting cut, like no one wants to get cut. Like you want to go leave the game on your own terms. But no matter what, every single player in the NFL, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, name so many more, they're going to get cut. The train is going to say, get off. And it's going to keep moving. And there's all these new guys, right? The Mahomes, I could say all these other guys, Deshaun Watson, all the young guys are going to take over where the Brady and the Breezes were, right? And they're going to have to step off the train. It's just going to keep moving. It's always going to keep moving. And I think that's hard sometimes. Like for me, it's and I've gotten used to it a little bit. I say used, but I like not being a starter for me is almost a failure just in the aspect of like I feel like I can do it. Like I don't and I've proven that I can do it. Yet I still don't get a chance to, but I understand like hey, it could happen on any given notice. Like so I don't even let my mind go there. The fact I'm talking about it is big. Like I don't let my mind go there a lot. I let my mind stay like, hey, you're one of 100 people in the world that get to play the position of quarterback in the National Football League. And that says a lot. And football's not who you are. It's just what you do.
Right. And we've talked about this every offseason. As soon as you accept a backup mentality, you'll be out of the league.
There's no question.
And that's the thing that we've always talked about is even though that is your role during the season is you must prepare as that starter, and that's allowed you to have a phenomenal career. And for all you people out there like, oh, Chase is the best job. You're carrying a clipboard. You just show up and carry a clipboard. What would you say to those people that like you're carrying a clipboard making millions of bucks? It's not as easy as what they probably make it out to be.
I'd say come spend a week with me during season. See if you can keep the hours that we do. But yeah, I mean, there's always going to be doubters. There's always going to be naysayers. For me, and I think this is where I've gotten a lot better at from when I was younger. Is my circle used to be really big. Right, and I used to care about what a lot of people said and what a lot of people would do and not do. And as I've had a kid and as I've gotten married, my circle's gotten real tight. And that's helped me really internalize like who matters, who matters. And I just don't listen to the people. Listen, social media, I love it. I'm on almost every single platform, but it can be such a negative place. And I think this generation, they struggle with it. The millennials or whatever you want to call it, like it's a way that Joe Schmo in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, can get on from his mom's basement and just type negative tweets to any athlete, and the athlete, I promise you, the athlete will see him. And over time, it might not seem like a big deal, but man, some of these people who aren't. And some of these younger athletes that aren't like mentally strong, it adds up. And it's we play a game.
That's right.
We play a game. I don't come to your work and tell you, man, you suck, or you're doing a bad job, or you need to throw to this guy. Like I don't try. I'm not an expert in anything other than football. I'm not an expert in accounting. I'm not an expert, trainer. I don't come and tell you what we need to do. If you tell me to do it, I'll do it because you're the expert in the field. Like, so I just think the perspective for me has changed on that. And I just think it's funny when I see all this.
Have you ever turned social media off? Like before a game or for a few times, like I'm sick, I'm just going to like take a detox, a social media detox.
I am, so my favorite platform is Twitter. Like I get all my news every single day from Twitter, and my wife absolutely hates it because she knows, like, of course, like I'll search my name or I'll search like other people's names on the team, and like I'll just see what is being said.
Right.
And she's like, if I have a bad game or a bad preseason game, like I want to see the bad. If I have a good preseason, I want to see the good. Like I want to see what's being said, and she absolutely hates it because she thinks it messes with me mentally, and I'm sure it does. But I've never gotten to a point, maybe it'll be this year, where I turn off everything. I've gotten to a point where maybe I won't check it as much throughout the day.
Right.
Because for me, like everything is right now all the time, and for me that platform is Twitter because I can see what's happening. Like I can see everything, all the sports, everything like that. So I probably need to get better in that aspect.
Faith. It's had a huge role in your life, and I've seen you develop your faith over the last several years more than ever. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, I mean, faith is my number one, right? Like God is my Lord and Savior, and I think we were put here on this planet for a much bigger thing than yourself, right? And that's discipleship. And so I think that's really where I've grown is letting people know about my journey and how my salvation with Jesus Christ, like I am forgiven. I'm a sinner, but I'm forgiven by Jesus, and I've just really tried to share His word a lot more. We have a great thing going with our team Bible study that we do 2 or 3 times a week, and we have a really good chaplain there, and it grows. I try to have a quiet time, whether it be a 5 minutes here, 5 minutes. It's tough when you have kids, but I make time for it. Get in my Bible because I feel like days that I don't, that I'm the most stressed.
Absolutely.
And that I'm worrying
Absolutely.
about worldly things.
That's right.
And I still struggle with it. I'm imperfect, just like everyone else is. And there's no way we can we can strive for perfection, but there's no way we'll ever be like Jesus. And I think that to me is such a big thing. And where I've grown, I used to not want to talk about it a lot. I've internalized it. And my wife has really brought me to that point where, hey, like, let everyone know, like, scream it on the mountaintop. That's why we were put here in this world. And I think, kudos to her, and we have a great relationship, and it's special for sure.
Yeah, Hillary's awesome.
Yeah.
You out punting your coverage with her.
There's no question. Thanks, babe.
Oh, no doubt. Couple final questions, some quick ones. If you weren't playing football, what would you be doing?
Professional golfer.
Oh,
There's no question.
Golfer.
I wish I still to this day wish that my parents would have started me in golf earlier. I really didn't get into golf until like college, and I was so bad, and I'm still so bad, but I love it. It's fun, but I'd probably be a professional golfer.
favorite thing to do when you're not playing football?
Well, the obvious answer is spend time with family. The second answer would be golfing. I don't get a lot of time to do it. It's hard to say, hey, I'd rather go spend 5 hours golfing rather than spend time with my son, but my wife's good about it and knows that it's sort of a stress reliever for me, so probably golfing.
Favorite exercise in the gym?
Anything with core. As throwers, everything starts from our feet but goes through our core. So anything core rotations that we're doing today, I mean, it's simple exercise, but it's just, if you're doing them right, they're going to burn, and I can just, who doesn't want a six-pack too? Like, come on. Like, I don't have one, but like, I'm trying to get one. I don't know if that'll work.
Least favorite exercise, one you just absolutely hate.
I don't
You're
hate
like, oh,
much.
man.
What do you think? I don't hate much. Well, I will say any hamstring work just like
RDLs.
RDLs. I'm just like, dude, he's like trying to tell me, I'm like, dude, can we do anything else other than hamstring? Like, I do it, but it's probably hamstrings.
Chase, if you could have a billboard in Times Square, what would it say and why?
Wow. Billboard in
Times Square. And I'm not talking about the Heisman. You could have a billboard in Times Square, right smack in the middle of Times Square. What would that billboard say?
So you've heard of the group I Am Second. I would probably just put a huge billboard there, Christian billboard, I am second. Jesus is first, I am second. So probably something like that, maybe a picture of my family and me saying that. I don't know. Something like that, second. But I am second, yeah.
Interesting. I like that. That's powerful. Last question. We talk about impact. We talk about legacy. I love that word. Talk to me about Chase Daniel's legacy and what you want to be remembered for on this earth.
Well, firstly, that he was a God-fearing man, and that he was an amazing husband and a caring and gentle dad. I think those are so important to me. Football going on 11 years, that's great, but there's going to be so much more than football outside of my life. That he was generous with the wealth that he made, whether it be to churches, to charities. We have a Chase and Hillary Foundation that we do a lot of stuff through that really is based on our tithing. So I just think that like he was a hard worker, diligent. And I mean, the biggest thing for me is the God-fearing man. I think that is, that's the most important to me.
There you have it, my friends. Chase Daniel is in the house, and I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. Follow him with the Chicago Bears and all that he's doing, and know that he is prepared each and every week. In the 10 years that I've been working with you, Chase, every single offseason you come with the mentality that you're going to be an all-pro player, and we never know when that time is going to come. And if you're a high school kid out there, or a college, you're in the pros, or you're a mom or dad, grandma, grandpa who's seeking the highest performance, I think Chase Daniel, when he shares his story about what he does, and year after year, the consistency on what it takes to be the best, is a great example of a man who is maximizing his potential. Way back when you were at South Lake Carroll High School in Texas, and started as a sophomore, and 2 years as a wideout, and then 2 years as a quarterback, and then going to Mizzou and being a finalist for the Heisman Trophy. Fame and fortune's never gotten to your head, and you've always remained humble and hungry. Every offseason you come and like, what are we going to do to get better this year? And guys, that's the mentality, that mindset that it takes to be your absolute best. So Chase, thanks so much for being here. And where can people find more about you, Chase?
Well, Twitter. Instagram, Chase Daniel. Instagram's Chase_Daniel. But I think if you follow me on Instagram, well, if you want to see pictures of my son and my wife, follow me on Instagram. So that's mostly what I post about.
And what about the foundation?
Yeah, so we have Chase and Hillary Foundation. It's through the National Christian Foundation. And what it is a tithing fund that we have set up. So we give to different charities or different churches or different things that are near to our heart that have to do with Christ. And so that's sort of what we have. No one can really give to it, but it's great.
Is there a website for that?
There's not. No, okay. There's not. We keep it pretty private. We don't
just DM you.
Just DM you. Just send me the money over to Venmo. We'll put it right in.
I love it. Yeah. Doing good things back in the world. Guys, there you have it. Another great impact episode with Chase Daniel. We'll see you on the backside. Train hard, eat right, live inspired, and create impact. Coaches, trainers, fire-breathing dragons. Do you sometimes feel like you're on an island? Do you need to accelerate and catapult your results in your business or life? Are you stuck, challenged, or frustrated with your currently at? Do you want to amplify your dreams and achieve even more? If so, I want to invite you to my 3.5-day live mentorship program. It only happens one time a year, and it's coming up this November 7th through the 10th right here in beautiful, sunny, warm San Diego, California. You can bring a teammate, you can bring your whole team, or you can just bring yourself. If you're ready for my deepest and most intensive program that I offer, now is the time to apply for this life-changing event. You can go to www.todddurkin.com/live-mentorship19 for all the details and to apply. Don't miss out.